Failure is an inevitable part of life. You may call it whatever you want, a setback, an emotional disappointment, a split, a loss, but isn't that part of what makes the experience so painful? It's because you believe you've failed on some level. You may be hesitant to accept it even to yourself, so you dismiss it as growing pains or a period of transition. Yet, you're a mess on the inside. Hello, this is Fire, and I'm here to assist you in achieving a more prosperous future. If you're new to the channel, welcome! It's wonderful to see you here. To be notified of new uploads, please subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. Let's get this conversation going. Failing hurts. Whether it's because you were passed over for a promotion at work, or because you didn't qualify for a marathon, many people will go to considerable measures to avoid failing, to avoid experiencing unpleasant emotions. There are a variety of reasons why you may feel like a failure. The following are some of the things that could play a role: a feeling of hopelessness, anxiety, depression, suffering from a sense of helplessness, relationships of support are lacking, low self-confidence, comparing yourself to others, self-esteem issues, negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations. If you're thinking to yourself, "I'm a failure," remember that there are things you can do to feel better. Knowing how to deal with failure in a healthy way alleviates some of the anxiety and may even lessen the agony, allowing you to bounce back stronger than before. Embracing your emotions is the first thing you should do. Embarrassment, fear, wrath, grief, and shame are just a few of the emotions that come with failure. Those sentiments are unpleasant, and many people will go to any length to avoid experiencing emotional distress. According to a 2017 study published in the Journal of Behavioral Decision Making, you shouldn't try to get rid of your terrible feelings following a failure. Researchers discovered that focusing on your emotions rather than the failure itself is the most effective strategy. So go ahead and feel your feelings. Recognize how you're feeling and allow yourself to be sad for a while. As you allow yourself to feel your feelings, write them down. "I'm disappointed," or "I'm disappointed that it didn't work out," for example. Remember that there's nothing wrong with feeling bad and that failure isn't a threat. Have you heard the expression, "Once a failure, always a failure"? Unfortunately, far too many people interpret this literally, leading them to believe they will never achieve again. Negative thoughts just help to stifle your progress. You'll be handicapped by an overpowering dread of failure if this mindset takes hold, preventing you from attaining your full potential. If you want to progress and live a happy life, you must conquer negative thoughts and replace them with good ones. It's common to experience profound sentiments of fear, sadness, guilt, and rage when you don't fulfill your goals. In fact, you could argue that it's necessary to be hurt after a failure. Use these feelings and emotions to your advantage rather than repressing them. Rather than feeling sorry for yourself and wallowing in self-pity, channel your emotions into motivation to achieve better in the future. We all have unconsciously tried to cope negatively, but you should recognize unhealthy attempts to reduce pain. "I didn't want that job anyhow," you might think, but diminishing your pain won't make it go away. Distracting yourself or trying to replace the hole you're experiencing with food, drugs, or alcohol won't help you feel better. Those goods will only provide you with a brief respite. Recognize the harmful methods you use to avoid or reduce pain in your life. Using coping strategies that cause more harm than good will simply exacerbate your problem. Practice healthy coping skills after noticing and preventing yourself from falling back into harmful habits. Calling a friend, practicing deep breathing, taking a bubble bath, going on a stroll, or playing with your pet are all good ways to deal with discomfort. However, not every coping method works for everyone, so it's crucial to figure out what does. You should also recognize irrational failure beliefs. At some point in your life, you may have adopted some unreasonable notions about failure. Maybe you believe that failure means you're a failure or that you'll never succeed. Perhaps you believe that if you fail, no one will like you. These kinds of ideas are false, and they can keep you from trying things that you might not be able to succeed at. Make it a point to recognize any unreasonable ideas that may be influencing your emotions and actions. Begin to think realistically about failure. An analysis of 46 studies on failure reactions published in the Clinical Psychology Review in 2016 indicated that more positive attributional style was a key determinant in how resilient people were to the emotional discomfort caused by failure. To put it another way, consider the failure as the product of something external rather than internal. Reframe your views if you find yourself believing you're a hopeless cause or that it's pointless to attempt again. Remind yourself of more realistic failure notions like, failure indicates that I'm trying to accomplish something difficult. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm able to learn from my mistakes. To combat negative ideas or to reassure yourself that you can bounce back, you may need to repeat a statement or affirmation. Hello there, buddy. Please hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video, and feel free to leave a comment down below before we move on to the second half. Going back to the list, accept an appropriate level of responsibility. Accepting an exact level of responsibility for your failure is critical. When you take on too much, you may find yourself blaming yourself excessively. Blaming other people or terrible circumstances for your failure, on the other hand, will prevent you from learning from it. You should also look into well-known failures. There's no shortage of notable failures, from Thomas Edison to Walt Disney. Spend some time looking up well-known persons who have failed. You'll probably discover that they have done it numerous times along the way. Many successful people fail regularly. Actors are turned down for parts, athletes are dismissed from teams, and business owners are denied deals. Examine what they did to recover. You might pick up abilities that will benefit you in your daily life. It can be reassuring to realize that failure is a part of life for everyone. You should also consider asking yourself, what can I learn? If you're willing to learn, failure can be a fantastic teacher. Have you made a blunder? Have you made a string of blunders? Consider what you might do differently the next time. Then, you'll make sure that your failure has turned into a life lesson that has taught you something. Instead of perceiving a failure as a setback that drags you down, consider it a stepping stone toward your objectives. Now is the time to start putting together a strategy for moving forward. You'll be ready to establish a plan for going forward once you've acknowledged your mistakes and where you can learn from them. It's important to remember that concentrating on your difficulties or rehashing your errors will keep you stuck. Stop thinking to yourself, I'm a failure, and instead say to yourself, I'm capable of trying again. Consider what you'll do differently next time based on your new knowledge. Make a plan to help you put the knowledge you've received into action. You must confront your fears of failure. When you've spent your entire life avoiding failure, it might be terrifying when it finally occurs. However, facing your concerns can help you feel less uncomfortable. Experiment with going outside of your comfort zone. Try new things that might fail, or do things that might get you rejected. Over time, you'll realize that failure isn't quite as horrible as you think. It will teach you how to tackle your fear of failure in a productive way that will help you achieve your objectives. Finally, learn to accept your failures. Failures will never teach you anything if you run away from them or try to avoid them. Experiment outside of your comfort zone. Try new things. Don't worry about rejection, and accept the idea that you too can fail. As you progress in life, you'll discover that failure is unavoidable. The sooner you accept failure as a learning opportunity, the sooner you'll attain your full potential. Failure should not be interpreted as a sign of defeat. While it's impossible to avoid and eliminate failure, the methods outlined above should assist you in managing and mitigating the consequences. If you're still having trouble with failure and nothing seems to be working, don't be hesitant to seek expert assistance. Never forget that there are individuals out there that want to help you overcome failure and move on with your life, no matter how overwhelmed you may feel. Overall, failure can be debilitating at times. Consider obtaining professional treatment if you're having trouble functioning after failing at something. Whether you've had a broken marriage or a business failure, speaking with a mental health expert can help you bounce back. That concludes today's video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and switch on notifications to be notified of new uploads. This is Fire, and we'll catch up with you in our next video.